edition of Freeworld Heads Up, this time on Monday the 20th of February. Myself and Sanjoy with you, and as usual we'll start with the currency. So what have we been seeing recently, Sanjoy?
We've had the parliamentary recess going on, so it's been a bit quiet on the pound, except on Friday, when we had some retail sales figures for the British GDP or sales in the UK, and these were quite a bit down actually. For January, the sales were down, and there's a sort of a little bit of the diminution of this idea that everything is fine and that we're kind of roaring on the road to recovery. That's also marked by people like Tony Blair saying surely we can pull back from the brink of this lemming-like dive over the cliff. And in today's Times, we've got a letter from the first signatory is Sir Andrew Cook, who's a major donor to the Conservative Party. So it does make a difference. And he says we should have a clause there, which means that we should include some priorities, like, for instance, membership of the common market or access to the common market as a reason to maybe stop the Article 50 process. So there's a bit of a last chance saloon going here, or at least some adjustment. And, of course, that's to do with the fact that even as we speak, today we start the debate in the House of Lords. So this is really getting down to the last chance to put some sort of safety mechanism on Brexit. There's also a letter in here by my friend Professor Raj Gopal, who's actually a fantastic chess player, and he says Tony Blair's right to challenge the rush to Brexit at all costs. Chess has taught me that sometimes bad moves should be recognised as quickly as possible and maybe reversed if possible. So there's people basically saying, well, let's think about this again. And on Tuesday we have Mark Carney, the Governor of the Bank of England. He will speak in Parliament. So, we know pretty much where Carney's view on this whole thing is. He's a doomsayer. The Brexiteers would claim that whatever he says is politically motivated and in an attempt to deny the will of the people. Still, he is the Governor of the Bank of England, and he is speaking in the UK Parliament, so I think he will say what he wants to say. And that's about it. On Tuesday we have the speech by Carney, and then on Wednesday we have the GDP figures for the last quarter coming out. And so it could be more second thoughts coming up there.
Okay.
And we've got to run through some of the commodities now. Adam will lead us on with the seeds.
Sure. So this is kind of a rundown of the major lines that we stock, just kind of give you an idea of where the market is and where it is going. So really to kick off with sunflower, pumpkin and poppy, pricing has remained pretty much stable, for pricing. Fluctuations are mostly down to currency values, which is really affecting all our products. Sesame, however, sesame seeds, they've moved up between $100 to $200 a ton. This is on the back of a large tender coming in from Korea.
Yeah, 12,000 tons.
Yeah, 12,000 tons, which has pushed the market up, and with limited availability in the bourses in India, this has excited the market a fair bit.
Yeah, so maybe $100.
Also, looking forward, in the next couple of weeks, we should be expecting the first prices to come out of South Africa. So this is across a variety of fruit. They produce a lot of different varieties of raisin in South Africa.
Yeah, also currants.
Currants as well, of course. Yeah, so that's you're looking at your goldens, your crimsons, flames, and medium and midget raisins from South Africa as well.
And some rains suggesting a smaller crop, particularly for the niche lines, goldens, crimsons.
And of course, similar to production in South Africa, you've got production in Chile as well, which is beginning to crop at the moment, beginning to harvest. This year we're expecting our first goldens to actually physically be here in the UK around the end of March.
That's very early, isn't it?
Earlier than last year, certainly. Prices are in general are shifting up for Goldens at the moment, though. So if
Okay.
you are looking at booking volume, I think now is a good time to look at it.
And flames pushing up a bit as well.
Seems to be a bit of firming in the
yeah.
flame market as well. Yeah, this
We may have seen the bottom.
yeah, this seems to be on the back of quite high demand from Europe. It's pushing up the prices from the farmers as well. So
Okay.
the field prices are marching up.
Yeah. We've also got some news now emerging from Bolivia and the Amazon area about Brazil nuts. It certainly looks like it's La Sequoia, a drought. There's been very dry weather in the Amazon, which the Brazil nuts themselves need rain and then heat to actually for the big pods to fall. Otherwise, the collection is really not very good, and there hasn't been this rain. So far, we think that basically this crop is delayed. Early collections around the inhabited zones, etc., are proving, well, maybe short 30%, but many people feel that if there's some substantial rain now, we could maybe have much less loss.
Okay.
The situation's complicated by the fact that there was no carryover last year, and that means that shippers are still covering sales that they made in September, October for the first quarter of this year, and their minds are set on that before they want to offer. Meanwhile, it looks like quite a lot of sales have been made by the packers to the supermarkets at prices which are considerably lower than the very, very scarce offers which are coming out now.
Okay.
So it could sort itself out with a bit of rain, but at the moment it's tricky.
Okay. Cashew nuts, that was the big story from last year, I think. We can all agree. So pricing continues to be high. Spot availability is very tight at the moment in Europe, and any shipments for prompt are also limited in availability as well. So pricing has continued to stay quite high.
Yeah, there's an effect there. Basically, like, you don't get many of these to $1 million now. You get like maybe 5 containers of 320s to $1 million. So traders are unlikely to be holding a lot of unsold shipments as they come this way. It's very toppy. Conversely, it does seem that many people who do need the stuff, they do need the stuff to buy. They can wait, but it doesn't look like the market is decreasing. At the moment, they're on Tanzanian material, and that, if anything, is moving up. Ivory Coast, the indications are high prices, and they're coming in now, but soon we'll know what the quality of that is like. Mm-hmm. There doesn't seem to be, a great weakening in price going on. Another weather-related thing, and we are getting some extreme weather, and I hesitate to say that this is global warming or anything. It doesn't really matter. The weather in California has been very atypical. Over the weekend, I was looking at pictures of flooding around LA, and the coinage of a new evocative term, the weather bomb. The weather bomb has started to move northwards after having caused havoc in the south. So flooding around LA, I don't know if you've been to LA, but if you look down from the plane, what you see is a lot of little boxes sitting in the dirt. And the idea that this very flat, expansive area can flood is the weather bomb is maybe not such a hypertrope, So what's been the result in the almond market? Well, we've seen some packers and growers withdraw, and I think it depends very much on the positions of the growers, particular growers at this time. While others have been willing to sell, but prices maybe 4 or 5 cents above last week. So one to watch, maybe more in a long-term view. We've got the bloom has started, and bees don't fly around in the rain. It's one of those big questions: where do all the insects go when it starts raining? Well, they hide in the grass. So you know, the bloom for the last 7-8 years has really been extremely robust. They move the bees around and they take maximum advantage of the good weather. There could be a lot of almonds this time next year unsold, but the situation now is that they're pretty comfortable. So they're not. If they think that the price is down and they have to sell, they're not panicked. They'll sell a few and they'll sell them for next month for prompt, just to keep things going. But they're not bothered in the long run. And pine nuts.
So we've seen a little bit of so pine nuts became quite cheap, particularly on the 950 count in recent months. But that, however, kind of seen that downward trend stop, and prices have kind of firmed up a little bit, around about $200 a ton in the last sort of week.
Yeah.
This is on the back of increased demand for these.
Yeah, there was a huge crop of the Siberica type, which is Russian, really. And that's sort of stimulated this thing, and the corianthus, the Chinese stuff, has dropped correspondingly. What we do know, because we can see the growth, is that there's also a good crop of the corianthus coming up, maybe an extremely good crop coming up in October, November. So prices aren't going to shoot up. But I think we may have seen the bottom.
Yeah, and it looks certainly, hopefully, that it's going to be relatively flat sort of in the medium term.
Yeah.
Pecans as well is another one. We've seen very high pricing from pecans this year. Price seems to have stabilised, and there's some cheaper offers available in the market as well. So I mean, it's looking like there may be some weakness there, but we'll
right.
See.
Okay.
We'll see what the larger shippers, how they react.
Okay.
And hazelnuts remain near the bottom of the market, with the Turkish lira firming up slightly in value compared to the US dollar. So we've seen a little bit of an increase there with Turkish hazelnuts.
Yeah, I think we're seeing a sort of pattern which we've had for a few seasons now, where demand falls off in the face of high prices, particularly when sales have been made by the packers, say, at lower levels. And they just buy a bit, and there's always a little bit of activity going on in the market, which prevents these violent oscillations in price. Sure. There's enough demand that when there's that sort of small mouth demand, hand to mouth, there's always some business to be done.
Sure.
Which keeps supply interested, and demand always needs something. So almost a stable instability.
Yeah, okay. Good way to put it. Well, I think that's all for this week. Of course, any questions, any inquiries, please do come and get in contact with us, and we'll speak to you next week.
Thanks.
Thank you.